Hello, dear viewers. You are on the channel Stories from the Catbox. Good mood to you and enjoy listening. Good day to you all. I was sitting and reading all kinds of stories and decided to write an excerpt from my life in general. It was in 2008, I worked in a big company but not with a big salary. In fact, life went on this way home, work home accordingly. I met her at work at the reception. Her name was Tatiana in general. One word at a time and we began to communicate in a week or two. We had lunch together, then went for a walk together and everything that followed. I fell in love with her like a boy. I wooed her well. But since I had no money, I didn't pay much. I kept it modest, flowers, gifts and surprises. As time passed, I asked her to live with me instead of coming to visit her and her to visit me. I introduced her to my parents who lived in a nearby neighborhood in General Tanisha as I called her at that time. Even my relatives liked her and life began to run its course. There were quarrels and truces and happy moments. I didn't want her for anything until I was so shaken up that I didn't come to my senses. It was like this. We had one computer and a laptop at home. I don't remember what happened, but I took the laptop to my parents for a while and we used the PC ourselves. There were no passwords or anything. She could freely access my email. I could access hers or social networking. And so one fine moment when we have lived together for about 6 months already at our place, as I at that moment considered, it has been decided to go to New Year's holidays to her in Rostov region to get acquainted with the parents. And she wanted to meet the holiday in the family circle since we lived and worked in the capital. She did not see her family for a long time. So we decided to stop there 2 months before the holidays. We had a big fight. And as I am an emotional but rather reserved person, I began to notice some not good in my Tanya. She began to close the mail after reading the letters, social networks and so on. She went to the bathroom with her phone and all that stuff. It made me think something was wrong and there was a fucking spy waking up in me. Honestly, not one made-up word. I started trying to read her messages to see her call history because she had gone to the bathroom once and popped out abruptly because she had forgotten her phone. That was what put me on alert in general. I acted simply and trivially. The internet is a bunch of keyboards. Spy and the computer, we have one in general and installed it in the end. It turned out that my date began to communicate with his ex. Yes, exactly. Communicate because the ex is from the same Rostov region. The correspondence was banal. He wrote her that he missed her and wanted to meet. She wrote him that she had problems with me. We were fighting, etc. After each such correspondence, she deleted the conversation from her computer, but the spy recorded everything, even legends and passwords in general. I knew what she was talking to him about. It was all trivial and simple. I only knew what she was writing in the PC. But at the same time, knowing the legends and passwords, I was already reading what she was writing about via the phone. There was nothing criminal, but it was infuriating that she started hiding the fact that she had written to her ex and that she was communicating with him anyway. There was nothing wrong with that. We reconciled and she started texting him less and less until a week before New Year's Eve. A few days before the trip, we had another fight and a very big one. Also, by the way, this character texted her too. She started complaining to him that I wasn't that nice. Went away to work, started paying less time to her, etc. And the fact that she decided to go to New Year's without me, since we do not find common ground. After I found this out, believe it or not, an idiot woke up in me. I didn't talk to her about it. I just asked her, what about New Year's Eve? She said she was going without me. I didn't believe it until the end, and the day she left, I thought she was going to say let's go. But when she was going, she didn't say anything or call me, which hurt me a lot. And I started to impose, acted like a wimp. I would have liked to write that I was such a jerk and that I took off and went, or that I made her stay with me for the holidays. But that would all have been a lie. I just asked her like a boy to take me with her. It was an extension of the argument. But she said no, something like she needed to be alone. I stated that if she left me here, that would be the end of it. But in the end she left and I was left alone. There were a bunch of thoughts, good and bad, that she would come back and things would get better, that I would change. She would too. And all that. Anyway, all the days she was gone, I sat and read her correspondence with this guy, and since she changed her CM because of roaming, I could only text her on social media, and then in between, on January 1st, she gave me a gift. She met her ex and slept with him. I don't know what he said to her and what exactly was there. But I do know that they slept together. I held all the resentment in me and was going to put an end to our relationship. But no such luck when I texted her about what she was doing or would be doing. She told me that she was going to her brother/sister's house. Some relative of hers. At the same time, I was reading her correspondence with her ex/present boyfriend. She went to see him. My emotions are very difficult to convey. The world collapsed. The pain from hell. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. That's nothing to say. It was a complete out. I waited for her to come. I was freaking out. I thought I was going to throw her out and everything. But no, she came over, sat down for tea, and I waited for what? I don't know. She said she wanted to talk. I said, go ahead, and she started telling me that she was there talking to her ex-boyfriend. He was wooing her so much. And I hadn't done that in a long time, that I paid attention to her, and she melted down and decided to end our relationship. That's where I got carried away. I don't know what came over me, but I forgave her for everything and wanted her all to myself. Well, a lot of people will understand me. A lot of people will say that I am a jerk, etc., but she said that she was going to sleep over tonight and move in with her girlfriend tomorrow. I begged her to stay, but it was all in vain. The only thing I asked her at the end was if she had slept with her ex. Even though I knew the answer beforehand, she confessed and apologized and said that we should have sort of split up, and then she didn't know how to tell me this and she didn't really want to lie. So no big deal. We split up. We lived in different parts of the capital, or rather I didn't know where she lived at the time, but I quit my job and got a job with another company and I went into work. I tried to forget her, to delete her and everything else. I deleted all the phones, all communication with her. I broke off all contacts as a matter of principle, in order not to act like a wimp, not to write and not to call. Although I really wanted to and thought about writing to her in social networking, but thank God I did not do it, and things started to get better out of the blue. A call 5 months later from an unknown number, and guess who it was? Yeah, you're right. It was her, and you know what? I had two feelings at that moment: to forgive and make up, or to send her away. I had those thoughts in my head, and she was telling me like a best friend, or crying into her pillow. I don't know how to convey that she was in trouble. She wanted to meet and talk. She asked me where I worked, what was new with me about my relationship. Well, that's probably how it usually goes. The only thing that was unusual for me was, why would she call her ex and cry? She ended up living near my work in the same neighborhood. What a coincidence, a huge metropolis with a population of over 10 million people. And no, she lives in the same area where I work. Although I specifically got a job at the other end of town. So as not to disturb anything and do not remember, she asked to meet and just talk. I agreed, since it had been almost half a year since the unpleasant events. It was already warm enough. We met near her house, sat talking about nothing. I didn't know what to say to her. She, on the other hand, talked a lot that she regretted leaving me. That her second-time ex was already hooking up. That love, provided he was in one city and she in another, was unbearable that she didn't know what to do. Can you imagine? She said this to me with whom she had done about the same thing. I understand that now. But back then I sat and listened, even tried to give her advice, supported her that everything would get better, tried to joke through the pain. But joke, I look at life with a smile and believe that everything will be fine. And then he joked something like this. Look, you left me, you chose him, fight for your happiness, or something like that. Although he did not do the same to her. If you read the above carefully. Anyway, we talked, I calmed her down and left. She asked to meet again and I perfectly understood that she wanted to make up with me. But even then I understood that I was burned out and that I was truly sorry for her. But I did not refuse the meeting. We went for a walk, we just went for a walk. I thought what an idiot I was and why I was doing this. And she kept telling me how nice it was to be with me. And she didn't understand why I was still single, hinted at getting back together. She even had phrases when we meant to go for a walk that I had changed a lot, began to dress according to fashion, began to look more spectacular. In general, the usual clothes were in general. I realized during the walk that I was the best in her life. From her words, which I did not particularly believe, I realized that she wanted to go back. And that even in this situation, I was a real man, didn't send her away, listened to her, even supported her, something like that. During this whole walk, she was walking, holding my hand. So I don't know how to say this. But in my opinion, the situation is the same as with her ex-husband, only in the role of the ex as me. I think that's exactly what it is, but not the point. I couldn't go to the next meeting because I was too busy at work and I had a lot to do. I met a girl at work and we started a stormy love affair, and I forgot about my ex-girlfriend over time. She called sometimes once every 2 or 3 months, but I acted reserved. The last time I talked to her, the dialogue was something like this. Hey, what's up? Hey, nothing. How are you? Fine. I missed you. I would like to meet up sometime for a walk and a chat. I cannot now and in the near future will not be able. What are you doing that you can't meet? I'm in the mega shopping mall right now. Picking out some shoes. What, for work or something? Almost. What do you need shoes for so urgently for the wedding? So you're going to be a wedding witness or a friend of the groom? Well, you could say that. What do you mean? You could say that I'm getting married tomorrow. At this point, she went into a stupor. After about 20 seconds, she crumpled up and said, "Congratulations," said a few more phrases and that she would call again sometime later. That was the last call. The story is real, not fictional, not embellished at the moment. He has been married for about 6 years and has a 4.5-year-old son, and his happy ex also has a son of the same age. I don't know how she's doing. I found out about her son by accident through some old ex-colleagues at work. The moral, guys, is that at first I thought she was my only one. I felt like shit, didn't drink, didn't eat, and went into work with my head. And in fact, it was just an empty relationship that made me sad and longing. So don't feel bad and we'll all be fine. Sorry if it's long or confusing. This is my first time writing a confession. Thank you for listening to the story to the end. And if you like it, please support us with the like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments,